The council chamber was cold. It was always cold. Thousands of aliens from different worlds sat in their floating seats, watching the small glass box in the center of the room. Inside the box, a little girl sat on the floor, playing with a torn piece of cloth from her jacket. Her name was Hannah. She was 5 years old. She had dark hair and scared eyes. She did not understand why all these strange creatures were staring at her. 3 days ago, Hannah's world had ended. The ship carrying her family and 300 other humans had broken apart in space. Metal twisted. Air rushed out into nothing. People screamed. Then silence. When the council rescue teams found the wreckage, they expected to find bodies. Instead, they found Hannah, still strapped in her emergency pod, asleep and dreaming. The council doctors had examined her carefully. They ran tests. They scanned her brain. They checked her blood, and they found something that terrified them. The head doctor, a creature with too many eyes and skin like wet stone, stood before the council now. His voice echoed through the chamber. The human child possesses dormant psionic potential. Our scans show it clearly. When she reaches approximately 12 years of age, these abilities will activate. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some aliens shifted nervously in their seats. Others leaned forward with interest. What kind of abilities? Someone asked from the high seats. The doctor's many eyes blinked in sequence. Unknown. Human psionics have never been studied. They are unpredictable. Our models suggest she could develop telepathy, telekinesis, or empathic projection. Possibly all three, possibly more. An old alien, something that looked like a tree made of crystal, spoke in a voice like breaking glass. The network. Could she disrupt the network? The doctor hesitated. That hesitation told the council everything they needed to know. It is possible, the doctor admitted. The psionic network connects all our species. It maintains peace. It allows instant communication across the galaxy. An untrained, unpredictable psionic force could theoretically cause cascading failures. Entire sectors could go dark. The network could collapse. The chamber erupted. Aliens shouted in 1,000 different languages. The translation systems struggled to keep up. Some demanded the child be trained. Others wanted her studied. Many wanted her sent back to human space immediately. But the eldest members of the council remembered. They remembered the last time a species with unusual abilities had emerged. The wars had lasted 100 years. Billions had died. They would not risk it again. The vote was called. The question was simple. Does the human child Hannah pose an unacceptable risk to council security and stability? Green lights filled the chamber. Yes, yes, yes. 847 votes for, 3 votes against. The decision was made. The child would be humanely processed, no pain, no suffering, just a quiet injection and eternal sleep. It was better this way, they told themselves. Better than war. Better than chaos. Better than risk. In her glass box, Hannah pressed her small hand against the wall. She could not hear what they were saying, but she could feel it. Something bad was happening. Something very bad. Far away, on a station near the outer rim, a man named Taeyang was accepting what he thought would be an easy job. The council representative, a smooth-talking alien with blue skin and a friendly smile, laid out the details. Simple extraction mission, the alien said, sliding a data chip across the table. 1 human child, survivor of the Morning Star disaster. She's at medical station Tau 7. You pick her up, deliver her to the processing center at waypoint 93. Payment on delivery, 50,000 credits. Taeyang picked up the chip and plugged it into his wrist computer. The child's face appeared on the small screen. Dark hair, big eyes. She looked terrified in the photo. What's wrong with her? Taeyang asked. He was a big man, scarred and tired. His hair was mostly gray now. People called him the Badger because once he started something, he never quit. Never backed down. Never surrendered. Nothing's wrong, the alien said quickly. She just needs specialized care. Human specialists. At the processing center, Taeyang had been a mercenary for 30 years. He knew when someone was lying. But 50,000 credits was 50,000 credits. His ship needed repairs. He needed fuel. He needed to eat. Fine, he said. I'll do it. The alien smiled wider. Excellent. The child is ready for pickup now. She's been sedated for transport. Very safe. Very humane. Taeyang arrived at medical station Tau 7 12 hours later. The docking bay was empty. Too empty. Medical stations were usually busy, full of ships and ambulances and emergency transports. This one felt abandoned. He made his way through the white corridors to the holding area. 2 armed guards stood outside a door marked Quarantine 7. They looked nervous. "I'm here for the pickup," Taiyang said, showing them his authorization codes. The guards checked their tablets. One of them unlocked the door. "She's inside." "Already sedated, just be quick about it." Taiyang stepped into the room. It was small and sterile. A medical bed sat in the center. On the bed, a tiny figure lay still under white sheets. Hana, but she was not sedated. Her eyes were wide open. Tears ran down her cheeks. When she saw Taiyang, she tried to speak, but her voice would not work. They had given her something to keep her quiet. Taiyang moved closer. He looked at her wrist. There was a medical bracelet there. He read it carefully. Subject: Hana Kim, age 5 years. Status: approved for termination. Method: cardiac suppression via injection. Scheduled: 1800 hours. Taiyang felt something cold settle in his stomach. Termination. They were not taking her to specialists. They were going to kill her. He looked at the little girl. She looked back at him with desperate, pleading eyes. She could not speak, but she did not need to. He understood. Taiyang thought about another little girl. Her name had been Yuna, his daughter. She had died 6 years ago when Council peacekeepers had bombed a human settlement. Collateral damage, they called it. Acceptable losses. He had not been there to save her. He would not make that mistake again. Taiyang unplugged the medical bracelet from the bed's monitoring system. Alarms immediately began to sound. He picked up Hana, sheets and all, and ran for the door. The guards tried to stop him. Taiyang's fist stopped them instead. He was old, but he was still strong. Still fast when he needed to be. He ran through the corridors with Hana clutched against his chest. Behind him he could hear shouting. More alarms. Security doors beginning to close. He made it to his ship with seconds to spare. He strapped Hana into the co-pilot seat and fired up the engines. The station's defense systems tried to lock onto him, but his ship was old and familiar with running from trouble. As they jumped into hyperspace, Taiyang destroyed his comm link with his own pistol. Then he shot out the ship's tracking beacon. The Council would be looking for them now. They would never stop looking. But Taiyang did not care. He looked at the little girl in the seat next to him. She was still crying, but there was something else in her eyes now. Hope. "You're safe now," he told her, even though it was probably a lie. "I've got you." The Council wanted the human child dead, but the Badger had other plans. The ship called Iron Promise was old and ugly, but it flew. That was all that mattered to Taiyang right now. He sat in the pilot's chair, watching the stars blur past as they traveled through hyperspace. His hands hurt. His ribs hurt. Getting old was painful. Behind him, in the co-pilot seat, Hana slept. The drugs the Council had given her were finally wearing off. She had cried for the first hour after they escaped. Then she had simply stared at him with those big, scared eyes. Then sleep had taken her. Taiyang's computer beeped. "Incoming message." He ignored it. It beeped again. And again. Finally, he checked it. The message was simple. "Return the asset. All charges will be dropped. You have 12 hours to comply." Taiyang deleted the message. He knew the Council was lying. They would kill him the moment he came close. They could not let him live, not after what he had seen, not after what he knew. He checked their fuel levels. Not good. They had maybe 3 more jumps before they ran completely dry. He needed supplies. He needed information. He needed help. There was only one person he could think of who might be crazy enough to help him. Her name was Jiwoo. Jiwoo ran a smuggling operation out of a hidden station called the Nest. It was not on any official maps. The Council knew it existed, but they pretended they did not. Smugglers were useful sometimes. They moved things that needed to be moved without asking questions. Taiyang set course for the Nest. It would take them 8 hours to get there. He hoped they had 8 hours. Behind him, Hana stirred. She opened her eyes slowly and looked around the cramped cockpit. When she saw Taiyang, she flinched. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe." "I'm not going to hurt you." Hana stared at him. Then in a very small voice she asked, "Where's my mama?" Taiyang felt his chest tighten. He did not know how to answer that. The girl's mother was dead. Everyone from her ship was dead. But how do you tell a 5-year-old child that? "Your mama," he started, then stopped. He decided on the truth. Children deserved the truth. Your mama is gone. I'm sorry. The ship. There was an accident. You were the only one who survived. Hana's eyes filled with tears, but she did not cry. She just nodded slowly, like she had already known. Like she had been waiting for someone to confirm it. Are you going to hurt me? She asked. No, Taeyang said firmly. Never. I'm going to keep you safe. The council wants me dead, Hana said. She said it matter-of-factly, like she was talking about the weather. I heard the doctors talking. They said I was dangerous. Taeyang turned his chair to face her properly. You're not dangerous. You're just a kid. The council is scared of what they don't understand. That's all. Are you scared of me? Hana asked. No, Taeyang said. And he meant it. I'm not scared of you. I'm scared for you. There's a difference. Hana seemed to think about this. Then she asked, and what's your name? Taeyang. But most people call me Badger. That's a funny name. Yeah, Taeyang agreed. I guess it is. They reached the nest 6 hours later. Taeyang had to use an old password he hoped was still valid. The massive station opened its hidden docking bay doors and let them inside. The nest was a mess of ships, cargo containers, and aliens of every species. Nobody looked twice at Taeyang as he walked through the market levels with Hana's hand in his. People minded their own business here. That was the rule. He found Jiwoo in her usual spot, a bar called the Rusty Comet. She sat at a corner table surrounded by data screens and half-empty glasses. When she saw Taeyang, her eyes widened. You're dead, she said. I saw the bounty. The council put 5 million credits on your head. 5 million? Taeyang whistled. I'm flattered. Jiwoo looked at Hana. Is that the kid? Her name is Hana, Taeyang said, sitting down. Hana climbed into the chair next to him and stared at Jiwoo with curious eyes. Do you know what you've done? Jiwoo asked. Do you know what the council will do to find her? I know, Taeyang said. That's why I need your help. Jiwoo laughed. It was not a happy laugh. My help? Taeyang, the entire council fleet is looking for you. Every bounty hunter in the galaxy wants that 5 million. I can't help you. Nobody can help you. I need coordinates, Taeyang said.
To New Haven. Jiwoo went very still.
New Haven is a myth. A story humans tell themselves. It's real, Taeyang said. We both know it's real. A hidden human colony far beyond council space. That's where I'm taking her. Before Jiwoo could answer, another voice spoke from behind them. You won't make it to New Haven. Taeyang turned. A man stood there wearing the dark uniform of council security. But something was wrong. The uniform was old, outdated by at least 5 years. Minho? Taeyang said, recognizing the face. I thought you were dead. I got better, Minho said, sitting down at their table. I heard you were asking about New Haven. Bad timing. The council just mobilized a hunter team. Elite ones. They're 3 jumps behind you. How do you know this? Jiwoo asked. Minho smiled sadly. Because I used to be part of the team that hunted people like you. The council has been doing this for a long time, Taeyang. Hana is not the first child they've tried to kill. She's just the first one that someone actually saved. Taeyang felt sick. How many? I don't know, Minho admitted. I started counting after a while, but then I stopped. It was too many. Different species. Different reasons. Always the same ending. The council decides someone is too dangerous and that someone disappears. Why did you leave? Taeyang asked. Because I got tired of being the monster in other people's nightmares, Minho said. He looked at Hana. How old are you, kid? 5, Hana said quietly. Minho nodded. The youngest one I helped disappear was 7. I told myself it was necessary. For the greater good. For peace. But I couldn't sleep anymore. I couldn't look at myself. So I ran. Will you help us? Taeyang asked. Minho looked at Jiwoo, then at Taeyang, then at Hana. If I help you, the council will kill me. If they catch me, they'll have to catch us first, Taeyang said. Minho laughed. Then he nodded. Okay, I'm in. But we need a plan. Running to New Haven will just bring the council's attention to that colony. They'll destroy it to get to Hana. Then what do we do? Jiwoo asked. Taeyang was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, we make a stand. We pick the ground. We make them come to us, and we make it hurt so bad that they decide it's not worth it. That's suicide, Jiwoo said flatly. Maybe, Taeyang agreed. But I'm not leading hunters to innocent people. If the council wants Hana, they'll have to go through me. Minho pulled up a star map on his datapad. There's a place. Old mining colony called Erebus 7. Abandoned 15 years ago, remote, defensible. If you're going to make a stand, that's where you do it. Jiwoo sighed. You're all insane. You know that, right? But she was already pulling up supply lists. You'll need weapons. Lots of weapons and ammo, and medical supplies, and probably a miracle. Can you get them? Taeyang asked. I can get anything, Jiwoo said. Question is, can you pay? Taeyang pulled out a credit chip. His life savings. Will this cover it? Jiwoo checked the amount and whistled. That'll buy you a war. Small one, but a war. Hana tugged on Taeyang's sleeve. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. Taeyang looked down at her. He saw his daughter's face. Yuna would have been 11 now if she had lived. He wondered what she would have looked like. I had a daughter once, he said. I wasn't there when she needed me. I won't make that mistake again. Hana was quiet. Then she wrapped her small arms around Taeyang's waist and held on tight. They had 48 hours before the hunters arrived at the nest. 48 hours to get to Erebus 7. 48 hours to prepare for war. The hunt had begun, but the badger was done running. Erebus 7 looked like a place where hope went to die. The old mining colony floated in space, dark and silent. Its metal walls were covered in dust and frost. No ships had docked here in 15 years. No one had walked these corridors. It was perfect. Taeyang's ship settled into the main docking bay with a heavy thud. The bay doors barely worked. Minho had to manually override 3 separate systems just to get them open. When they finally stepped out onto the old metal platform, their breath came out in clouds. The heating systems were dead. Home sweet home, Jiwoo said, looking around at the rusted equipment and broken lights. She had followed them in her own ship, carrying enough weapons to fight a small war. This place is depressing. It's defensible, Minho said, checking his tablet. The mining tunnels create natural choke points. The main hub has good sight lines. And the emergency systems still work. Barely, but they work. Hana stayed close to Taeyang. She had been quiet during the trip. Too quiet. She held onto his hand and looked at the dark corners of the bay with wide, frightened eyes. It's okay, Taeyang told her. We're safe here for now. They had 48 hours, maybe less. The Council's hunter team was fast, and they had the best tracking technology in the galaxy. Taeyang's ship had left a trail, a faint one, but enough. They got to work immediately. Minho knew how Council hunters operated. He had been one of them. He drew up defensive plans on his tablet, showing Taeyang the best places to set up weapons and traps. They'll come in 3 waves, Minho explained, marking points on a map of the colony. First wave is scouts, light armor, fast movers. They'll probe your defenses, look for weaknesses. Second wave is the main assault. Heavy weapons, coordinated attacks. Third wave is cleanup. That's when they send in the elite soldiers to finish whatever survived. How many? Taeyang asked. 12 ships minimum. 60 soldiers. Maybe more if they think you're a serious threat. I am a serious threat, Taeyang said. Minho smiled grimly. Yeah, I know. They turned the colony into a death trap. Jiwoo's weapons went everywhere. Automated turrets in the corridors, pressure mines hidden under floor panels, explosive charges set to blow at the push of a button. They sealed off sections of the colony, creating a maze that would force the hunters to come at them from predictable directions. Taeyang worked 20 hours straight. His old body protested, but he ignored it. Pain was temporary. Death was permanent. Hana tried to help. She carried small boxes of ammunition and handed tools to Minho when he asked. She did not complain. She did not cry. She just worked alongside them, quiet and determined. On the second day, with 10 hours left before the hunters arrived, Hana found Taeyang in the main hub. He was setting up the final turret, his hands covered in grease and his face lined with exhaustion. Taeyang? Hana said softly. Yeah, kid? Why are you doing this? Really? Taeyang stopped working. He sat down on a crate and looked at her. She deserved an honest answer. I told you about my daughter, he said. Yuna. She was 6 when she died. The council said it was an accident, a mistake. Wrong target, but she's just as dead either way. Hana sat down next to him. I'm sorry. I wasn't there, Taeyang continued. I was on some stupid job halfway across the galaxy, making money, thinking I was doing important work. I wasn't there when she needed me. I wasn't there to protect her. But you're here now, Hana said. Protecting me. Yeah, Taeyang said. I am. And I'm not leaving. No matter what happens, I'm not leaving you. Hana leaned against his side. My mama used to say that heroes are people who stay when everyone else runs away. Your mama was a smart woman, Taeyang said. Are you a hero? Hana asked. Taeyang thought about that. No. I'm just a stubborn old man who's too mean to quit. Hana smiled. It was the first time he had seen her smile. I think you're a hero. 3 hours before the hunters arrived, Minho gathered everyone in the central control room. He pulled up a holographic display showing the space around Erebus 7. They're here, he said. 12 ships just like I predicted. They're holding position at the edge of the system. They'll send scouts in first. We have maybe 30 minutes. Jiwoo checked her weapons. She had a rifle that was bigger than Hana. We can't win this, you know that, right? Even with all the traps and weapons, we can't beat 60 trained soldiers. We don't need to beat them, Taeyang said. We just need to make it too expensive. Make them hurt. Make them think twice about coming after a human child. That's not a plan, Jiwoo said. That's wishful thinking. It's all we've got, Taeyang replied. Minho pointed to a small room off the main hub. I've set up a safe room for Hana, reinforced walls, emergency oxygen. If things go bad, she locks herself in there. It'll take them hours to cut through. Taeyang looked at Hana. You understand? When I tell you to run, you run. No arguing, no heroes. You get to that safe room and you lock the door. Hana's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. Okay. The first scout ships appeared 15 minutes later. 2 small attack craft, sleek and fast. They circled the colony, scanning for life signs and active weapon systems. Taeyang watched them on the monitors and smiled. The hunters thought they were being careful. They were wrong. The scouts moved closer. One of them tried to dock in the secondary bay. The moment the ship's hull touched the docking clamp, Taeyang pressed a button. The explosion tore the scout ship in half. Fire bloomed in the vacuum of space, then disappeared just as quickly. The second scout ship tried to run, but Jiwoo's automated turrets caught it. The ship spun wildly, trailing atmosphere, and crashed into the colony's outer hull. First blood, Jiwoo said quietly. The main assault came an hour later. 10 ships this time. They did not bother with caution. They just attacked. Weapons fire lit up the space around Erebus 7. The colony's shields, old and barely functional, struggled under the assault, but Taeyang had prepared for this. He waited until the ships were committed, until they were close enough. Then he activated the colony's emergency venting system. Massive jets of gas and vapor exploded from vents all around the colony. The ships flew blind for crucial seconds. That was all the time Taeyang needed. Hidden missile batteries, salvaged from the colony's ancient defense systems, fired. 3 ships died instantly. 2 more took critical damage and pulled back. The remaining 5 landed hard in the main docking bay, their doors opening to disgorge squads of armored soldiers. The soldiers were big. Bigger than humans. They wore power armor and carried weapons that could punch through steel walls. They moved with the confidence of predators who had never lost a hunt. They walked straight into Taeyang's trap. The corridor exploded. Mines detonated in sequence, a chain reaction of fire and shrapnel. Bodies flew through the air. The survivors staggered, disoriented, and ran straight into automated turrets that opened fire with mechanical precision. Taeyang watched from his position in the main hub. He felt nothing. No satisfaction, no joy. This was just survival. This was just what happened when you backed a human into a corner and threatened a child. But the council soldiers kept coming. They were trained for this. They adapted. They used their own bodies as shields for their teammates. They advanced through the fire and death, slowly but surely. Minho took position at one choke point. Jiwoo took another. Taeyang held the main corridor leading to the hub. They fought for 18 hours. The battle became a blur of gunfire, explosions, and screaming. Taeyang's armor took hits. His ribs cracked. Blood ran down his face from a cut above his eye. But he did not stop. Every time a council soldier got close, Taeyang was there. Shooting, fighting, refusing to fall. He was the Badger, and the Badger never quit. Finally, as the battle raged around them, the leader of the hunter team appeared. His name was Vexthar. He was massive, with 6 arms and skin like black metal. He moved through the carnage like death itself. Vexthar found Taeyang in the main hub. The old mercenary was bleeding, limping, almost out of ammunition. But he stood between Vexthar and the corridor that led to Hana's safe room. "You cannot win," Vexthar said in a voice like grinding stone. "Surrender the child. This does not have to end with your death." Taeyang raised his last weapon, a simple pistol. His hands shook with exhaustion. "Yes," he said. "It does." Vexthar moved forward, and then something impossible happened. Hana stepped out of the safe room. She was not supposed to be there. She was supposed to be locked away, protected. But she had heard the fighting. She had heard Taeyang's labored breathing over the comms. She walked into the main hub, and when she saw Taeyang bleeding and hurt, something inside her broke. The air itself seemed to ripple. Power, raw and primal, exploded outward from the small child. It was like nothing anyone had ever felt before. Pure protective instinct, given form and fury. The blast threw Vexthar backward like he weighed nothing. The power that came from Hana was like nothing anyone had ever seen. It was not supposed to happen. She was only 5 years old. The doctor said her abilities would not awaken for years, but fear and love were stronger than biology. Vexthar crashed into the far wall hard enough to dent the metal. His 6 arms scrambled for purchase as he tried to stand. Around him, the remaining council soldiers froze. They could feel it too. Something was happening. Something wrong. A shield of shimmering energy surrounded Hana and Taeyang. It glowed soft blue like starlight. Taeyang stared at it in shock. His wound still bled. His body still screamed in pain, but the shield held firm, protecting them from everything outside. "Hana," Taeyang gasped. "What are you doing?" The little girl's eyes glowed with the same blue light. Tears streamed down her face. "You're hurt." "They hurt you. Make it stop. Please make it stop." But Hana was not just protecting them. Something else was happening. Something the council had feared for so long. Every species in the council was connected to the network. It was a psionic web that linked billions of minds across thousands of worlds. It allowed instant communication. It shared emotions and thoughts on a basic level. It kept the peace by helping everyone understand each other. Hana's awakened power did not destroy the network like the council feared. Instead, it amplified it. It made it stronger, made it clearer, made it impossible to ignore. And through that network, billions of minds suddenly felt what Hana felt. They felt her terror as armed soldiers hunted her through dark corridors. They felt her grief for her lost mother. They felt her desperate love for the scarred old man who had risked everything to protect her. They felt her confusion about why the galaxy wanted her dead when all she wanted was to be safe. On the council homeworld, billions of aliens suddenly stopped what they were doing. Factory workers froze at their stations. Politicians paused mid-speech. Children playing in parks fell silent. They all felt it. A human child's raw, unfiltered emotions flooding through the network like a tidal wave. In the council chamber itself, the representatives who had voted for Hana's death suddenly experienced what their decision truly meant. They felt the fear, the loneliness, the desperate will to survive. It was not statistics or risk assessments anymore. It was real. It was personal. It was impossible to deny. Back on Erebus 7, Vexthar struggled to his feet. He was connected to the network like all council species. His people processed emotion differently than most species. They were logical, tactical. They felt through instinct and purpose, not through what others called love or compassion. But now, for the first time in his life, Vexthar felt what humans called love.
He felt what Hana felt.
The protective bond between a child and her guardian. The willingness to die for someone else. The stubborn human refusal to abandon the innocent. It overwhelmed him. His weapons fell from his hands. He staggered backward, his mind struggling to process emotions his species had never evolved to understand. The other soldiers felt it too. They lowered their weapons. Some fell to their knees. Others simply stood frozen, experiencing the impossible. A 5-year-old's love for the man who saved her life, transmitted with crystal clarity through the entire network. Minho and Jiwoo reached the hub, weapons ready. They stopped dead when they saw what was happening. The soldiers were not fighting anymore. They were just standing there, staring at Hana with expressions that ranged from shock to something that looked like understanding. "What's happening?" Jiwoo whispered. Minho checked his tablet. His eyes went wide. "The network. She's broadcasting through the entire network. Every council species. Every connected mind. They're all feeling what she feels. Is that possible?" Jiwoo asked. "It wasn't," Minho said. "Until now." The blue shield around Hana flickered. The little girl was exhausted. Her young body was not meant to handle this much power. She swayed on her feet and Taeyang caught her before she fell. "I've got you," he said, holding her close. "I've got you." Hana's eyes returned to normal. The glow faded, but the damage was done. Or perhaps the healing had begun. Across the galaxy, billions of minds had experienced something unprecedented. They had felt human emotion in its purest form. Vexthar finally found his voice. It shook, which was something his voice had never done before. "I understand now. What I was sent to kill, what the council feared." He looked at Taeyang. "You call this love. My people have no word for it. We understand loyalty to the pack, purpose, survival, but this is different." "Yeah," Taeyang said, still holding Hana. "It is." "I cannot complete my mission," Vexthar said. His fellow hunters stirred at those words, confused. "I cannot harm a child who feels this way. I cannot kill the one who protects her. It would be—" He struggled to find the word. "Wrong," one of the other soldiers spoke up. "Command will not accept this. We have orders." "Then Command can come here themselves," Vexthar said, his voice growing stronger. "I will not do this. Not anymore." Across the galaxy, the Council's communication channels exploded with activity. Messages flooded in from every corner of Council space. Billions of citizens demanding answers. Demanding to know how many children had been killed. Demanding to know what other species had been eliminated for being different. The network had shown them the truth. And the truth was ugly. On the Council homeworld, riots began. Not violent ones, but something more powerful. Peaceful protest. Work stoppages. Billions of people simply refusing to continue until they got answers. The Council representatives tried to restore order. They tried to explain. They tried to justify their actions. But their words rang hollow now. Everyone had felt what Hana felt. Everyone knew a 5-year-old child had been marked for death simply for being different. In the Council chamber, one representative stood up. Her name was Nari. She was young for a counselor, and she had been one of the 3 who voted against Hana's execution. "This cannot continue," Nari said, her voice echoing through the silent chamber. "We have committed atrocities in the name of security. We have murdered innocents in the name of peace. The network has shown us our sins. We cannot hide from them anymore." "You speak treason," one of the elder counselors hissed. "I speak truth," Nari replied. "And if truth is treason, then perhaps this council needs to fall." The chamber erupted. Some counselors shouted in anger. Others sat in stunned silence. A few stood to support Nari. The ancient institution that had ruled the galaxy for millennia was tearing itself apart. Back on Erebus 7, Hana opened her eyes. She looked up at Taeyang with exhaustion written across her small face. "Did I do something bad?" "No," Taeyang said firmly. "You did something brave. Something important. You showed them the truth." "I'm tired," Hana said. "I know. It's okay. You can rest now." Vexthar approached slowly, carefully. He knelt down so he was at eye level with Hana. "Little human, what you did, my people will study this for generations. You changed everything. I just wanted them to stop hurting Taeyang," Hana said simply. Vexthar made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Yes, simple motivation. Pure result. Very human. What happens now?" Minho asked, still holding his weapon warily. Vexthar stood. Now we leave. We return to council space and tell them the hunt is over. The child is under my protection now. If the council wants her, they will have to go through me. They'll kill you for that, Jiwoo said. Perhaps, Vexthar agreed, but I have felt what humans call honor. I cannot unfeel it. I cannot go back to what I was before. He looked at his fellow hunters. Who stands with me? Slowly, one by one, the hunters lowered their weapons. Some nodded. Others simply turned and walked back to their ships. They were done hunting, done killing, done following orders they no longer believed in. Vexthar bowed slightly to Taeyang. It was a gesture of respect his people rarely gave to other species. You are everything the council feared about humans. Stubborn, irrational, willing to die for abstract concepts like honor and love. But you are also everything the council needed to see. Thank you for that lesson. Just keep her safe, Taeyang said. That's all I ask. With my life, Vexthar promised. The hunter ships departed one by one. Vexthar's ship stayed behind just long enough for him to send one final message to Council Command. The message was simple. The hunt is over. If you want the child, send your best. Send your armies. Send your fleets. But know that you will have to go through me. And I promise you, human stubbornness is contagious. Then he too departed, leaving Taeyang, Hana, Minho, and Jiwoo alone in the damaged colony. They sat in silence for a long time. The battle was over. They had survived. But everything had changed. So what now? Jiwoo finally asked. Taeyang looked at Hana, who had fallen asleep in his arms, exhausted from using power she should not have had for years. Now we go home. The real home, New Haven. And we hope the galaxy has learned something. You think they have? Minho asked. Taeyang smiled tiredly. I think a 5-year-old just taught the entire council what it means to be human. That's got to count for something. 3 months had passed since the battle at Erebus 7. 3 months since a 5-year-old girl had changed the galaxy forever. Taeyang stood in a field of golden grain, his hands dirty from working the soil. The sun was warm on his face. Real sun, not artificial station lighting. He was on New Haven, the hidden human colony that most of the galaxy still thought was a myth. It was real. It was home now. Behind him, a small house sat on a hill. It was simple, made of wood and stone. Taeyang had built most of it himself with his own hands. It felt good to build something instead of destroying things for once. Taeyang, a voice called out. Come quick! He turned to see Hana running toward him from the house. She was taller now, still small but growing. She wore simple clothes and her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked like a normal child, happy, safe, alive. What is it? He asked as she reached him. The news. From council space. You have to see. They hurried back to the house. Inside, Minho and Jiwoo were gathered around a small screen. Both of them had stayed on New Haven after the battle. Minho because he had nowhere else to go. Jiwoo because she claimed someone had to keep an eye on them. But Taeyang knew the truth. They had become a family. Strange and broken, but a family nonetheless. The screen showed the council chamber. But it looked different now. The old seats where the ancient counselors had sat were empty. New representatives filled the chamber. Younger ones. Different ones. And standing at the center podium was Counselor Nari. Today marks a new beginning for the council, Nari said, her voice clear and strong. For too long we operated in fear. We eliminated threats before they could emerge. We killed innocents in the name of security. But 3 months ago, a human child showed us the cost of our fear. She showed us what we had become. The camera panned across the chamber. Many of the representatives looked uncomfortable. Good, Taeyang thought. They should be uncomfortable. The investigation is complete, Nari continued. Over the past millennium, the Council authorized the termination of 47 species. Not established civilizations engaged in war. Not proven threats. Just species that were different. Species that had abilities we did not understand. We killed them because we were afraid. The chamber was silent. Across the galaxy, billions watched this broadcast. Billions who had felt Hana's emotions through the network 3 months ago. They wanted answers. They deserved answers. We cannot undo what was done, Nari said. Those species are gone forever. But we can ensure it never happens again. Effective immediately, the Council's preemptive termination protocols are abolished. Any species facing extinction-level decisions will be given a voice. Will be given a chance. Will be given the same rights we claim for ourselves. She paused, then looked directly at the camera. And to the humans of New Haven and to the child called Hana, I say this. We were wrong. We were cruel. We were cowards. I cannot ask for your forgiveness. I can only promise that we will do better. The broadcast ended. The four of them sat in silence for a moment. 47 species, Jiwoo said quietly. They murdered 47 entire species. And got away with it until now, Minho added. His voice was bitter. He had been part of that system. He had helped enforce those deaths. The guilt lived in him like a poison. Hana looked at Taeyang. Does this mean I can go back? To council space? Taeyang knelt down so he was at her eye level. Do you want to go back? Hana thought about it. Then she shook her head. No, I like it here. It's quiet. It's safe. And you're here. Taeyang smiled. Then we stay. But staying was not that simple. News of New Haven had spread after the battle. The council officially recognized it now. Trade routes were being established. Human ships could travel freely in council space now. Humans were no longer seen as dangerous unknowns. They were just another species. Different but acceptable. More humans arrived every week. Refugees from other colonies. Families looking for a fresh start. The population of New Haven had doubled in 3 months. They were building a real civilization now. Taeyang helped where he could. He was not a politician or a leader. He was just a farmer now. An old soldier who wanted to grow things instead of destroy them. But people knew his story. They knew he had stood alone against the council to protect one child. They respected that. One afternoon, as Taeyang worked in the fields, a ship landed nearby. It was not a human ship. It was a council hunter vessel. Sleek, black, and dangerous looking. Taeyang felt his old instincts kick in. He reached for the rifle he kept nearby. Then he stopped. He recognized the ship. Vexthar emerged from the vessel. The massive 6-armed alien moved with his usual predatory grace. But there was something different about him now. He wore simple clothes instead of armor. No weapons were visible. Taeyang, Vexthar said in greeting. Vexthar, Taeyang replied cautiously. Didn't expect to see you again. I have come with news and a request. They walked together through the fields. Vexthar explained that the council had tried to court-martial him for refusing to complete his mission. But public opinion was too strong. The network incident had made heroes of both Vexthar and Taeyang. The council could not punish them without causing riots. So they gave me a new position, Vexthar said. Ambassador to human colonies, specifically to New Haven. Taeyang stopped walking. You're kidding. I do not understand kidding, Vexthar said seriously. But no, I am not. The council believes I understand humans now. They want me to help build bridges between our species. And you agreed? Vexthar was quiet for a moment. That child showed me something I did not know existed. Purpose beyond survival. Loyalty beyond logic. I want to understand it better. I want to learn what it means to be human. We're not that special, Taeyang said. You are wrong, Vexthar replied. You are very special. Frustrating, irrational, stubborn beyond all reason. But special. The galaxy needs that. The council needs that. I need that. They reached the house. Hana was outside, playing with some other children from the colony. When she saw Vexthar, her eyes went wide. Then she smiled and ran over. You came back, she said happily. I promised to protect you, Vexthar said. I keep my promises, though it seems you need less protection now. Taeyang keeps me safe, Hana said. He teaches me things. How to grow food, how to fix the house, how to be strong. Good, Vexthar said. He looked at Taeyang. You are teaching her to be human. I'm teaching her to survive, Taeyang corrected. Same thing, Vexthar observed. Over the following weeks, Vexthar became a strange but regular presence on New Haven. He helped with construction projects, his 6 arms making him incredibly efficient. He learned human customs and tried to understand human humor, though he rarely succeeded. The children of New Haven found him fascinating, and he tolerated their curiosity with surprising patience. One evening, as the sun set over the colony, Taeyang sat on his porch with a cup of coffee. Hana sat next to him reading a book. Minho and Jiwoo were inside, arguing about something trivial. Vexthar stood nearby, watching the sunset with an expression that might have been wonder. This is peace, Vexthar said. True peace. Not enforced through fear or control, just existence together. Yeah, Taeyang agreed. It's pretty good. The council spent millennia trying to maintain peace through elimination of threats, Vexthar continued. But you achieved it in a moment simply by refusing to abandon a child. I didn't achieve anything, Taeyang said. I just did what was right. That is why it worked, Vexthar said. Hana closed her book and looked up at Taeyang. Do you miss your daughter, Yuna? The question hurt, but Taeyang did not shy away from it. Every day. But I think she would be happy that I found you. That I kept trying to be the father I should have been for her. I'm not your daughter, Hana said softly. No, Taeyang agreed. You're not. But you're family. And family is what you choose, not just what you're born into. Hana smiled and leaned against his side. I'm glad I chose you. Me too, kid. Me too. Months turned into a year. New Haven grew. The council began making reparations to the families of the 47 eliminated species, though nothing could truly make up for genocide. More colonies were established. Humans spread across space, bringing their stubborn hope with them wherever they went. Hana grew older. Her psionic abilities developed, but slowly and safely under the guidance of human specialists who understood that power without wisdom was dangerous. She learned control, she learned responsibility, and she learned that being different was not something to fear. Taeyang grew older too. His hair turned completely gray. His body hurt in new ways every morning, but he was happy, truly happy for the first time in years. He had purpose again. He had family again. One night, as he tucked Hana into bed, she asked him a question. What would you have done if the council had kept coming, if they never stopped hunting me? Taeyang thought about it honestly. I would have kept fighting. Every day, for as long as I could, because that's what you do for family. You don't give up. You don't surrender. You stand your ground and you make them work for every inch. Because you're the badger, Hana said with a smile. Because I'm the badger, Taeyang agreed. And badgers never quit. Hana closed her eyes, safe and loved and protected. Thank you for not quitting on me. Never, Taeyang promised. Not on my watch.